come in here recording?
Yeah, yes I can.
You cannot.
Why not?
Because we got customers PII. You have to exit.
Personal information?
Yeah.
The issue is you can video out here all you want.
Yeah, I can video.
Okay, but you cannot video in there. Now, if a customer asks you not to video them, please don't video them. Okay, if
Why?
a customer asks you
Why
not
though?
to, because this is their right to not be videoed.
So you're heard of the First Amendment? We all have a right to be journalists in this country.
No, that's not true. The First Amendment pertains to journalism is their right not to give up their sources.
Have you heard of free
Their
press?
sources.
Sir,
Some of what these officials said is right. Some of it is very, very wrong. I'm going to break down when you can and can't legally be filmed to help you navigate this uncomfortable situation if it ever comes up for you. This isn't just about law. It's about power, dignity, and who gets to decide how your image is used. And at the end of the video, we'll revisit those clips from the beginning to see who got it right. I'll also go over how you can protect your privacy on platforms like YouTube. Over the past few decades, with the rise of video cameras, then phones with video, and then platforms like YouTube, a whole new genre has emerged. People who go around filming others in public and uploading the footage online. Some of them play a critical role in holding authority figures, especially the police, accountable. They didn't just catch conflict, they caught injustice. And because they did, they changed the world. But not every video is about holding those in authority accountable. Some people, initially inspired by videos of police misconduct, began going to government offices, libraries, even private businesses to test whether their right to film would be upheld. Some are genuinely educating people about the First Amendment. Others realized that if they could provoke conflict and get the police called, the views and ad revenue would follow.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing? They want me removed because I said I can tell you that that lady is an arrogant bitch. They want me removed from my speech. It ain't happening. I need a full request filled out and I'm out of here, but I can say, you know, this lady's acting like a bitch, you're acting like a bitch. That's constitutionally protected speech.
And that's where things get more complicated. That right to record, the one that helped expose police misconduct, is rooted in the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to assemble, and more. But some people, like the postmaster we heard from at the beginning, think it only protects reporters or anonymous sources. That's not what the First Amendment says. In fact, it doesn't mention sources at all. It protects the freedom of speech and of the press. And courts have held that includes the right to gather information about what government officials are doing in public. The idea that it's only about journalists protecting sources is legally wrong and frankly shocking, coming from someone in authority at a federal agency built around the right to communicate. And misunderstandings about the First Amendment don't just come from officials. They're shared by everyday people too. There's a lot of confusion about when you can and can't be filmed. Many people think they can't be filmed without permission, even in public. For better or worse, that's not true. Many people also just don't like being filmed while going about their lives, especially when they have their kids with them.
You're doing that without consent of people, and it's kind of rude to just have a camera pointed at people when they're coming.
This is my territory, Ro.
No, it's not rude. It's very polite.
It's also really not cool with kids coming in and out of here.
I'm gonna blur them
No, we're
out.
not
Don't
here for
worry.
kids. You're the one with the kids. What are you gonna do with that
I'm getting
boy?
a film of you, though.
What are you gonna do with that little boy, man?
I'm gonna put it on the internet.
I mean,
All on the
don't
internet.
bring up kids. That doesn't work with us.
OnlyFans.
The First Amendment protects the right to record in many public spaces, but that doesn't mean you can be filmed anywhere, anytime. Whether it's legal depends on where it happens, and what kind of place the law considers it to be. Sometimes the First Amendment protects the person with the camera. Sometimes the First Amendment doesn't apply. When most people think of the public, they're picturing what the law calls a traditional public forum, places that, since the founding of the country, have been open to everyone, where nearly all kinds of speech are allowed, including filming, protesting in the street, or handing out pamphlets. Where some people start to get it wrong is when they extend the idea of free speech to locations that are actually not public forums. For example, because a business like a hair salon is open to the public, and you can be filmed in public, you might think someone can legally film you there. Actually, A private business like a salon may welcome the public, but it's still a private forum. The owner controls the space and makes the rules, including about filming. It's like someone coming into your home to hold a protest. Even if you invited them, you can then choose to send them packing for any reason you'd like. Probably the biggest misconception is thinking that any government-related business or location is automatically a traditional public forum where speech and filming are always allowed. That's completely false. Some government spaces may be a designated public forum, like a town hall holding an open meeting. In those cases, someone may be allowed to film you, but the government can still set ground rules. Speakers may have to stick to the agenda, speak only during designated times, and avoid disrupting the meeting. And filming can be restricted if it interferes with the meeting. When no events are being held, the space can be closed to the public entirely. Other events may be limited public forums, open only to certain people or topics. For example, a school board might allow only parents to attend and require them to speak only about school-related issues, and they can decide whether filming is allowed. As it happens, the spaces you probably least want to be filmed in are some of the most contentious spaces when it comes to filming on government property. Those are the locations we all know and love, like the DMV, Social Security, and post offices. These are locations where we have no choice but to spend some portion of our lives and involve communicating sensitive personal information. Naturally, most of us don't like the idea of a camera recording our conversations at the DMV or Social Security window. People who want to film those interactions tend to assume these locations are public forums and therefore anything goes. But legally, that's just not true. These are actually some of the most restrictive locations, known as non-public forums. While sometimes the people running these forums take a mostly hands-off approach, they also have very broad authority to restrict access, filming, and speech. The courts have repeatedly reaffirmed their rights to do so, particularly when sensitive information is involved. And these days, it's quite likely they won't allow someone to film you. Some non-public forums, particularly the post office, do allow filming in outer lobbies where no personal information is being exchanged. But that permission is optional, not guaranteed. They can restrict filming at their discretion, and courts have upheld their right to do so. So, with all that background, it's time to summarize where you can and can't be filmed. You can absolutely be filmed in traditional public forums, a park, the street, and sidewalk, or the steps outside City Hall. In all other forums, it's up to security or authorized personnel. If there are no signs or personnel prohibiting it, you are usually allowed to be filmed in public meetings, libraries, post office lobbies, train stations, or non-secure areas of airports. It is increasingly the case that you may not be filmed in government service offices where private information is handled, such as Social Security, the DMV, and the service area of the post office. Now for the big secret. Being filmed is one thing, but being posted online is another. While you don't have control over where you can and can't be filmed, you do have control over whether it can be posted on private platforms like YouTube. YouTube's policies specify that a video cannot be uploaded if people who are recognizable did not give permission to be filmed, or if your personal information was posted. It doesn't matter whether you were legally allowed to be filmed, as a private company like YouTube gets to enforce its own rules. YouTube doesn't actively police this, but if you find yourself in a video you didn't give permission for, you can contact YouTube and there's a good chance they'll have the video removed. This is called a privacy strike. If you find a video of you uploaded to some other service, check their policies to see if they'll allow you to report a privacy violation. Now that you know all this, let's go back to what those officials at the beginning of the video said and see who really understood the law and who was just guessing.
You can't come in here recording.
Yes, I can.
You cannot,
Why not?
because we got customers PII. You have to exit.
Personal information.
Yeah.
The issue is you can video out here all you want.
Yeah, I can video.
Okay, but you cannot video in there. Now, if a customer asks you not to video them, please don't video them. Okay, if
Why?
a customer asks you
Why
not
though?
to, because this is their right to not be videoed.
So you heard of the First Amendment? We all have a right to be journalists in this country.
No, that's not true. The First Amendment pertains to journalism is their right not to give up their sources.
Have you heard of free press?
Their sources.
Sir.